Welcome to the Worst of the Riot podcast, the Monday edition, the Canadian Thanksgiving edition.
Ooh, what do we say for Canadian Thanksgiving? Do you say
Happy Thanksgiving?
What am I saying?
No, that's the meanest thing because, you know, it's not fair to make fun of a polite area.
For the, what do we say for American Thanksgiving?
I don't know.
Does this have carbs in it? Or I don't know. Can I get that deep fried, please?
These are both bad. Well, happy Monday. If you're listening to this podcast on Monday, just to let you know, it is Match Monday for our RadioU Fall Fundraiser. That's why our podcasts are a little bit shorter during this week. We're raising money for RadioU, and that raises money for our podcast. So consider giving at RadioU.com, especially today, because whatever you give gets matched for Match Monday.
Some people might appreciate that the podcast is shorter.
I know. Don't get used to it, guys. It'll go back to its other length.
This isn't so bad, actually.
We can go longer.
Yeah.
Is that the threat we get to tell people?
Yeah, we'll go longer. Yeah.
If you don't give and don't
give,
support.
we go longer. So today during the podcast, during the show, we talked about how some flights are being canceled again.
Yeah.
And this has kind of been a thing that's been going on for so long now. I haven't flown in like a while. Yeah, I haven't flown in at least a week. And because like the past couple of months, it's been like pretty much constantly one airline is like down.
You just never know which one it's going to be.
If you go back to like before the pandemic, it was stupid to fly then.
Yeah.
It's just now it's stupider.
They just gave them one more excuse. They needed one more, and or as if they needed one more. Already.
I feel like when you listen to this, we talk about ATC, the air traffic controller stuff, and when we talked about it, some people thought we didn't give it enough talk because there's all this like, are they lying? Like Southwest, because like the air traffic controllers are like, nuh-uh, and then Southwest is like, and everybody's like, well, what about me? Why can't I fly home?
There are some disputing reports, is what we're hearing. So at the end of the day, there's a lot of people stranded, a lot of flights canceled, and it sounds like Southwest not doing a whole lot to help.
Everybody wants someone to blame, and technically that should be Southwest Airlines.
Right.
But
they're the ones with
others.
The airline.
Yeah.
They're the ones with the planes.
But I don't want to fly anytime soon, so no thank you.
We also talked about a little box office review from this past weekend, and this upcoming week, I am going to do it. I'm going to go see a movie.
What are you going to see?
Why do you go with Hudson on his birthday?
I'm going to go see Shang-Chi is what I'm going to go see.
Shang-Chi. Say it right.
Shang-Chi.
He's lying. He's not going to see it. He doesn't even know how to pronounce.
I'm going to see it this weekend because typically Carly, my girlfriend and I, we always watch them together. Mm-hmm. But she hasn't been back in Columbus for what seems like so long now.
So now she's coming back this weekend?
She's coming back this weekend. But like a month ago when it came out, like my roommate and I like really wanted to see it.
I think.
And she was like, you can't see it without me.
Wow.
And so I've waited.
That's a horrible impression.
I've waited. I know.
But you're like
That's
2 weeks away from Disney Plusing it. So
I know.
Yeah,
almost
right?
there.
Why
I
don't
know,
you just
but
hold off and go see James Bond or Venom instead?
No.
Come on.
I don't want to wait any longer. I've already waited so long. I've held off. She made all these rules before she left. She's like, you can't go to Cane's. You can't go to Roosters.
What?
I'm like, what? I'm like, this is just insane.
Why did you lead with that? That's crazy.
I know, that's what I said.
Insane.
That's what I said.
Hang on. When you're in a longer distance relationship, sometimes you don't want to miss out on things with your special
Like
someone.
going to Raising Cane's?
I know. That's what I said. We were on the phone one day, and I was like, dang, I haven't had a Cane's in so long. I'm going to get some Cane's. And then she has the audacity
to throw that out
to
there?
be like, well, you can't go get Cane's without me. And I was like, what? She was like, I really wanted to. She was like, how about we do this thing where you like wait until I come back?
What?
I was like, you're not coming back for like a month. Like, what do you mean? Why would we do that? That sounds insane. And then I said Roosters, and then she said the same thing. She's like, well, can we wait on that one too? And I was like, sure, whatever, we can wait. That's
The
fine.
good news
You're a
is
good boyfriend because I like how she's not losing anything there. She doesn't have to do anything.
No, she has to do nothing.
It's you that has to do
Solely,
that all.
I have to hold off.
you need to come up with some restaurants that she can't go to.
Yeah. Like, okay, well, it turns out you can't go to McDonald's, Wendy's, Arby's, any of the fast food restaurants.
The good news
Actually,
is
you can't eat.
Yeah.
the good
No
news
food.
is Raising Cane's are all closed because they have no employees, so it's not like you
Oh,
can
are
go
they closing
anyways.
all their hours too?
It's very, at least the ones near me, is very
They
hard.
said they had to
to
bring
go at
in
the right
like
time.
their office workers to come work in the stores.
Yep.
Which, if someone called me in to go work at fast food, I'd be like, I don't know how to do this.
I don't know.
I
Guys,
can only check email.
I went to Wendy's over the weekend, and man, it was a nightmare because I tried to order online, and it gives you all the options of carry out, dine in, whatever. turns out you can only order drive-through or curbside. Sure. They had the inside locked. So it's like, and what am I going to do if I ordered dine-in?
You don't get it.
Am I just going to sit there? I mean, I don't know. I guess I'd have to go through the drive-through or something, but it took forever. It was a mess. And you felt bad because you could tell there was only like 2 employees.
Yeah.
And it's just a mess right now.
You can't run it with 2, even though if Wendy's starts, you got to pay attention because what if they have a make your own food click instead of curbside? You know, like I have to go in and make it?
DIY, make it yourself.
They've been training us all these years. I've had people, family members that are like, why would I go to the self-checkout? I'm not paying, why am I going to do their job for them? They're training you so that when there's a labor shortage, you'll be able to make all of your food yourself.
You can just do it.
At this point, it feels like every place is feeling it. So, well, I think we spent long enough, guys.
We did.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes we have to get stuff out since we don't have enough time during the fundraiser. We have to get other stuff out in the podcast intro.
So consider supporting for Match Monday for our podcast. Make sure you put podcast listener in the comments section, and that way we have a chance to thank you. So if you go to RadioU.com, and then remember, no going to Canes or Roosters for 1 month, all right?
A whole month.
Or no, I guess until this weekend.
Yeah, this weekend we're all free. So you can just hold off like 4 more days. We'll be good to go.
I love relationships. They're the best. Have a good day.
It is The Riot.
Welcome to The Riot, where you listen to us and that's it. It's pretty much a one-way street. The Riot. RadioU.
Now, I don't know about you guys. This might have been a very unique experience to myself. This is one of those sports weekends that totally took a couple of years off my life, but in the best way possible, because
things worked out for you.
It all worked out, but it was a stressful ride to get there because it was really yesterday. The Packers went to overtime with the Bengals, and in doing so, in the final 2 minutes of the game and then into overtime, they combined both teams to miss 5 field goals in a row.
Oh my gosh.
It was honestly one of those where you watch it and you're just in disbelief. Like I didn't really care like who won the game. I'm not a Bengals or like a Packers fan. But just watching it the whole time, I was like, wow, Hudson's probably like in tears right now. Like after Mason Crosby missed like the third one, I was like, what are we doing?
I was stressing out. But then, I don't know, I thought it was just something in the state.
Yes.
They did wind up winning, ironically, on a field goal. My wife was watching too, and she's just like, there's no way they're going to let him kick again. I was like, if you keep letting him kick, eventually he has to make one, right? So
that's why you'd be a good coach right there. Like, let's not give up. Six times later.
It's not that I believe in you. I just think odds are eventually you're going to get it.
At some point, you're going to figure it out.
And then last night, the Red Sox played the Rays. It was game 3 of the series, and that wound up going to 12 innings at least. It might have gone more. I watched the whole thing, and once you get past 9, you just lose count.
Yeah.
But the Red Sox did wind up winning that one as well. So it was a lot for me to handle, but eventually it all worked out.
So is the Tampa Bay Rays the one team that's thinking about moving to Montreal?
Yeah, they're thinking about splitting time, half in Tampa Bay and half in Montreal.
Being the child of divorced parents, like they want to split between one town and one and stay like half the season.
Except neither parent loves you.
You're going wherever you go. Yeah, I just don't think they're gonna. There's no way they're gonna have any. I just don't think they'll have any fans. If you're a half and half, like you have to choose. Like you can't be half in my city and half not in my city.
I was thinking before we talked about it. I was like, what if there was somebody out there that was on the opposite? That was a Bengals and Rays fan, and I was like, oh wait. There's no Rays fans. So there's nobody that
there's no chance.
There's nobody on the opposite end of the spectrum from what I went through this weekend.
I love that so much. You're like, everybody hates you. That's fine then. That's great. That's 100% then.
Yeah, but anything to get the Rays out of their stadium, it's the worst. If you ever watch, they play
the Tropicana place.
Yes,
it's the worst.
The Tropicana place. I love it.
In the game, the first game of the series a couple nights ago, there was a ball that hit the roof of the dome, and they called it a home run. It's just like, how can you have a stadium where you can hit the roof with
and it counts as a home run,
and it counts. Yeah, so that was rough. But there was lots of other great stuff that happened in sports this weekend as well. I know a lot of people happy to see, and this is another one it was a hard to watch at the end, but Alabama wound up losing to Texas A&M, which everybody was excited about. So man, it was a good time.
Every time I looked online, someone was saying something about a game. And I was like, oh, it seems like it was a weekend full of good stuff.
It was a lot of fun.
There was a lot of good ones. I remember watching the Alabama game, and I wasn't even watching it until I got on Twitter, and I was like, oh my gosh, like everyone's talking about the Alabama game, and I tuned in with like 3 minutes left, and I was like, they're going to lose? I was like, what is going on this weekend? It was just craziness all weekend long.
But you were happy, right?
I was happy Ohio State won. I was sad that my Browns lost yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
In a really good game against the Chargers. It was a good game, but
they'll bounce back.
Yeah, they'll be okay.
This is the Worst of the Riot podcast.
Donating to RadioU is, in all circumstances, a lot better investment than buying plane tickets. Because you just never know what you're going to get.
And I know, like, you flew a few weekends ago, and I know that I'm sure most people and most flights are fine, but when you see, like, coming off of this weekend, when you see when one airline has these huge issues.
Literally 1,000 flights canceled in just a weekend. Yeah.
And that's from Southwest. I don't want to fly anywhere.
Yeah, because, I mean, you're right. Most people usually get to their destination without any issues, but that's not all people, and that means you're taking a gamble anytime you're playing the odds. Anytime you want to get out there and take a flight, you don't know. You could be the person stranded in Kansas City for an extra couple days with nothing to do.
So they're saying Southwest Airlines canceled 1,007 flights, citing, they say ATC, and I was like, what's that? Air traffic control issues.
What does that mean, though?
I don't know.
That's very vague.
I feel like it's just an answer that they can give, and you're like, oh, sure, because we don't know enough.
Well, because they always, I guess that's each airport has like the tower, right? Where that's air.
It's that.
And then the pilots always are saying, well, the tower's giving me the go ahead, or the tower's saying, no, don't go, or whatever. You know, the pilots will say that. What if the pilots are just like, the tower's telling us not to go, but you know what? We got to make it to Houston.
You can't do that. I don't think they let you. And they say disruptive weather. My favorite is when your airline cancels your flight and it's like 4 days in front and the weather's not even here.
Right.
You're like, why is that happening?
It seems that they can use the weather. Like there was legitimately bad weather, but it feels like they can also just use that whenever they kind of feel like it.
And the air traffic control stuff.
Yeah, of course, because who can dispute it?
So they're not saying any other comments for Southwest, but if you know anybody who's traveling through them, they say they're not able to rebook anyone until today or tomorrow.
Yeah, now that's a mess.
A lot of people stranded. They have to stay there with no real changes until today or tomorrow when they can try to rebook them.
I guess you just got to kind of roll with the punches, you know? Like, what else can you do?
Well, you can okay, let's go through the list. I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah.
You could take another airline home and have to pay probably 4 times.
Yeah.
You know how it's Match Monday? They're going to match and go ahead and double.
They're going to double your airfare, but you have to pay all of it. Now, I tell
you, we're special with our Match Monday. It's the good way.
I know it sounds so horrible, but I'm trying to think. If it was me in that situation, man, you'd be mad at first. It's like, man, I don't want to be stuck in Kansas City or wherever it may be. But then it's just like, you know what? This is just my excuse. Just going to get out of stuff. I'm just going to ride it out.
Yeah, until your job fires you.
Well, it's not my fault. It's not my fault.
Until, I don't mind it until you see the lines of people just having to stand and wait in line. That looks horrible.
It's the hassle of it all. It's not, I wouldn't mind having the extra couple days. I mean, you can work from anywhere anyways, but
even from the terminal.
Yeah, but you're right. The hassle of having to stand in line to wait to talk to the ticket agent or whatever, and all the time you'd have to spend on the phone. And we all know we don't want to spend time on the phone.
They're not going to talk to you till today or tomorrow. Remember, they're not doing anything until then.
Hopefully you get a hotel voucher at least so you can stay at the DoubleTree.
Stuck over the weekend. That was the details with Southwest Airlines. Over 1,000 flights were canceled.
Yeah, so good luck to anybody who's out there right now. I hope you make it home okay.
The worst podcast with the best listeners. This is the Worst of the Riot podcast.
Now, in honor of Match Monday, there was a match up at the movie theaters over the weekend between the Venom in its second week in theaters and, of course, the new James Bond movie, No Time to Die, which would be number one.
Dude, it came out and I still don't remember. It came out. Like, I feel bad for Bond. I did see more about Venom than I did for Bond, but, at least it came out. I know that one's been waiting for a while.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. People have been waiting for James Bond. I have plans to see it on Thursday for my birthday alone. And just what I want.
You're not alone.
It's
You're
what
with
I
Bond.
want. Yeah, that's right. Just me and
Never
Daniel
alone.
Craig, and that's all I need.
Sounds like a perfect birthday.
Well, I'll be helping pad James Bond's totals, where it did get number one over the weekend with about $56 million in the United States. And I don't know. I think my expectations of what movies should be making in theaters, they're way off, because that feels low to me. But they say that is the fourth highest out of all 25 Bond movies. It's the fourth highest, trailing only behind the three other Daniel Craig James Bond movies.
But you know they wanted way more than that.
They did, but this is at the lower end of the expectations, where it's still not super disappointing, but they definitely could have had their eye on more. But they also say that this is like not James Bond people. This is the forecasters of the box office saying it's tracking like it should do pretty well going forward as well, because I'm going to see it.
You're the difference.
But here, this is what is interesting to me. Venom, it's its second weekend out. The new Venom 2, Let There Be Carnage. It was its second weekend out in theaters. It made a lot of money last weekend, and then this weekend it actually made more in its second weekend than the original Venom made in its second weekend.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so the signs are saying that basically they're saying this seems like a good weekend for movies as far as getting people back to the theaters.
Listen, they're
where
trying
people
to-
are ready to go back.
They're trying to say, both these movie companies are trying to say whatever it takes to make it seem okay that they didn't do as much as they wanted them to do on their opening and second weekend. They're like, oh no, it still should do better. Hudson's seeing it. It'll be fine.
I don't know. I mean, how much... I feel like... I know that in my mind, I just think all of my numbers are off because I just feel like every movie should be making Marvel... Avengers Endgame numbers, when that's really not what they do, and that's not what they have to do to be successful. But at the same time, like, how much more can they honestly expect, where people have just been kind of conditioned to not want to go back to the theaters anymore? So anything they can get, any money they can make in theaters feels like a lot at this point.
No, you're right. It's not a Marvel movie, so it's not going to traditionally bring in that. So if you saw Bond over the weekend, global number, it looks like 145.5 million, which is, they were projecting about 150 million. But for here, it did not, I don't know. I don't even see anymore what it made. Bond made whatever.
Yeah, it's 56 million.
56 million, there
but
it
I don't
is.
know I didn't see what their actual expectations were of if that was how bad below.
They
what
initially
that
wanted
was.
about 60 to 65 million.
So it's pretty close. What's 4 million between friends?
It's fine.
You know?
They figure Hudson and a few other Hudsons will make up on Friday.
Yeah,
or
maybe
Thursday.
it's the $4 million that people are holding back from seeing Bond this weekend that they're donating to
give
RadioU
here?
instead. Yeah,
That's
they're
refreshing.
just smart, wisely budgeting, and they'll use that $4 million to go see Bond another weekend.
It is nice if you could support first here and then support other things.
That's what we're doing, right?
The Riot promise is that they'll always have an opinion on everything they talk about. But that doesn't mean any of their opinions will make sense. This is The Riot on Radio U.
I feel like in our area we've been pretty good, but it seems like in every section of the country there is extreme stuff going on when it comes to the weather.
All this crazy weather, and I feel really left out. It's just been like mildly hot, and every once in a while we get a mild thunderstorm, and that's it.
That's about all we get.
Yeah, we haven't gotten too lucky. Well, in Texas, they just had a year of weather where it started off with the ice storms and the cold weather, and then they moved on to the heat wave. And in the middle of all of that was a thunderstorm that developed some record-setting hailstones. So here's what happened. They were actually able to pinpoint where a hailstone had come down using their weather radar in Medina County, including Hondo and Castroville.
Yeah.
And they pinpointed where a large chunk of hail was, and would have fallen from, that would have been the biggest. Technology has come a long way. I'm glad they're using it for good. They found the hail because somebody had picked up the hailstone and put it in their freezer. It measured 6.4 inches across, 12 inches in circumference, and it weighed more than a pound. And that's is a
Scalping.
record-setting hailstone right there for this area of Texas. Now, that was back, the storm was actually on April 28th. But get this is the fun part. They think they found a bigger one, also using the radar technology, and they found it on social media, but it was blended into a margarita before they could go verify it.
Well, everyone copes in certain ways.
Yeah, right. And isn't that a very Texas thing, too? That it's just, they couldn't keep the record-setting hailstone.
Because they put it in
a margarita, yeah.
Well, it's why Honda was trending a while ago during these storms for these hail pieces. And I remember when I saw it trending, everybody was posting pictures of this large record-setting hailstone. And what my favorite part is everybody kept putting a little Texas cowboy hat graphic on the top corner of it. And it was like, this is how we do it in Texas. Yeah. Just go big.
Everything is bigger in Texas, even the hail.
Can you imagine?
And even the margaritas, I guess.
If you've never been in a hailstorm, it's the worst because there's nowhere to go.
Yeah.
And there's all is that you're just damaged. Like every noise is a dent and this breaking and this breaking. And you can't, unless you get into a garage or somewhere else, if you're stuck in one, this must have caused a lot of damage.
Yeah, this is the fun part of the hailstorm is that somebody got to make it into a margarita. But the unfun part is that all the other hailstones that maybe didn't quite break the record were probably hitting cars, putting dents in them and breaking windows and stuff like that. So, but if you have been in a hailstorm, I used to me and some of my friends, if you were in a hailstorm and it was just like the little hail, it was fun to run out into the hail. Yeah. And see how long you could last out there getting pelted with the little, like getting hit with airsoft BBs just over and over and over again.
See, that would be fun.
That was a dumb kid thing to do.
These are different.
No, this would knock you out.
This exactly probably would have, especially if you were younger.
Yeah, you'd be flat on the ground. But this knocked you in the head.
Well, congratulations to the record-setting hailstone in Texas and to the other one that wasn't officially recorded because it was turned into a margarita.
But they still got to celebrate anyways.
Before they could get their hands on it.
Man, you couldn't have waited. Then you could have had that as the celebration of setting the record right there.
You could have had it all.
I wonder what happened to hailstone that actually did set the record officially. What did they do with that one afterwards?
I'm not sure they didn't mention.
Oh. They should turn that one into a margarita, too, just to keep with tradition.
Well, Erin said we had quarter-size hail 2 weekends ago where she's at. Dents all over my car.
Yeah.
Aww.
Go talk to your insurance. They're not going to help you.
Well, they will if you...
No, they're not. They're going to be like, it was your fault.
Oh, gosh.
Also, you have a deductible, so
and you're not quite there.
Nope, you're not. So, yeah,
it's your own problem.
It's nice that you give us money every month, but
we can't help you.
Yeah, we are gonna do nothing.
Hudson, Nikki, The Riot on RadioU.
Have you seen this tweet? It's gone viral. 40,000 likes. It's a picture.
What is going on there? What is that? That is not real. Please tell me that's not real. How could you fly like that?
I don't.
They're having like a seafood boil, like a crawfish thing, in a plane across a row of 3 seats.
Yeah, it's, well, you can tell it's Spirit Airlines. Yeah. And I don't just mean you can just tell. There actually is a napkin. And
is it because it's cheap looking? Is that it?
Yeah, no, I mean, you can look at the seats. And this is just the type of thing that would happen on Spirit Airlines.
Oh, my gosh.
It is a couple, and they've got the 3 seats. The woman sitting in the window seat and the man sitting in the aisle seat. And then in between them, the middle seat is taken up entirely by a tray full of lobster. And I mean full. It is like a dozen at least lobster.
Do you think those are lobsters or like crab or something? I guess they do look like lobsters, but like that's a lot of money right there.
Yeah, it's definitely lobster.
But if you save money by flying Spirit Airlines, you have enough money to bring lobster on board.
But that's not even all because if you look on the woman's lap.
That's crab leg.
Yeah, she's got crab legs and all kinds of other...
Is that shrimp or sausage?
It's hard to make out all of what exactly is there. What? And then, of course, they've got the free drinks provided. And I like...
She's got champagne.
It's not...
I think she has champagne.
And it's not just that. It's also a Cheez-It box and some Pampers wipes.
Some baby wipes.
But you know
for
that's
your
not for a
fingers?
baby. That's for their hands, yeah.
Okay. Now, I just want to ask... we can barely get on the plane with our stuff.
Yeah.
You know, like they don't allow this, they don't allow that. Are you allowed to bring a crab boil or all this stuff on? Apparently so, but...
If you pay for its own seat, I guess you can.
There's no one in the seat in between.
Yeah.
What if you did get that seat? You're like, hey, do I have to hold your lobsters? Can I have one?
Can you guys scooch over and maybe just I'll sit on the end? Or
I guess it's pure jealousy. I would love that. I would
the food looks good, doesn't it?
Is that a half of an avocado?
Oh, wow.
Do you think by the water, by like the little shot glasses, or is that a...
That's hard to tell.
It looks like an avocado without the pit out.
Yeah, you might be right. It might be an avocado. Man, they've got it all there. They really went all out on this food. And yeah, you can see, I missed the little travel size alcohol bottles there on the tray.
Yeah, you know they're doing that too.
They are partying on that Spirit Airlines plane.
How long? This is what I want to know. I wish you could find out the real story behind it. Like, how long is this flight? What if it's only like an hour or two and you're bringing that on?
Yeah, you're not going to be able to finish it in time.
I would be so mad to be in front or behind them.
What if somebody, I'm sure if you were allergic to shellfish of some kind, wouldn't you have to sit far away or like on a different plane?
I don't think that's like an airborne one.
You don't think?
I don't, but again, I don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
It's kind of like when you go to a party and it's this foil tubs that they put food in.
The big foil trays.
That's
the catering
what they have.
trays.
They have two of those.
It's two of them, and they have an entire catering menu in front of them for seafood. And
just wait till you get off the plane.
Well, here's my last question. Is it possible that they bought all of that in the airport?
No.
So they had to go through security.
They brought that in.
Giant trays.
There's no way you could get
seafood and run it through the scanner and everything.
Someone had a good point. They say Spirit does not fly across the Atlantic. Like they don't do any flights like that. So that's one that had to be within the United States. It would have been a shorter one.
I feel that it somewhere it came into or out of New Orleans. You can tell.
You feel like
you can tell. They're probably on their way to New Orleans.
I want what all they're eating.
Yep.
But I hate them for it. And if I was on a plane and I had to be around that, I'd be so annoyed to sit near that too.
It's actually smart. You buy the extra seat on Spirit and you spend all this extra money on the food instead of wasting your money and getting less food on a better airline.
And don't forget the Cheez-Its. I would have been jealous just with that.
Yep. They are doing this airplane right. They know how to travel.
Oh, no, thank you. I feel like we need to post the pic or something. I don't know if you guys really grasp what they brought on this plane.
Yeah, we'll retweet it. How about that on the RadioU Twitter?
We'll put it at RadioU on Twitter. Oh, no, I still feel like it needs to be on Facebook, too.
All right, we'll do that, too.
We'll post it at RadioU Riot on Facebook. You just have to see.
You have to.
Yeah! You were one of the lucky few who missed the riot when they were live. Yet here you are.
I also like to live dangerously.
This is the Worst of the Riot podcast.
I have here the official, undisputed list of the favorite dogs of the United States.
Going into 4th of July?
Yep, of course.
Can you be proud of the dog that you have? Is it ranked high on the list?
Is it the most American dog, the favorite dog of the United States? So this is from YouGov, and they did this. Sometimes you see, like, the American Kennel Club will come out with, like, the top most owned dogs.
Yeah.
But that's not what this is. This is... What they actually did was they surveyed a bunch of people, and in the survey, they would just give them 2 dogs at a time. Like, they would put up a beagle against a basset hound, and it'd just be like, which one do you like better? And you do a bunch of those if you are one of the people taking the survey. And then with all of those matchups added together, these are ranked by what percentage of the time the dog won.
So these are the most liked dogs in America.
Yes. So let's see. Let's start at number 5. Shetland sheepdog.
Oh, those can be cute.
Yeah, like that's looks like Lassie based off of the picture.
Yeah.
Number 4 is an Entelbucher mountain dog.
What is that?
I don't know.
I wouldn't even know that if I had a list I was taking about it.
I guess people must have just liked the picture. Or maybe the name. I don't know. Number 3 is an Alaskan Malamute.
Oh, those are cute.
Yeah, they're very similar to Huskies. 2 is a Golden Retriever.
Hey, now, okay, so for my dogs, I have Golden Pyrenees.
Yep.
They're Great Pyrenees and Golden Retrievers. Mine counts then.
All right.
I'm taking that one for a win.
Your Great Pyrenees is in at 21, so you have 2 of the top 21
And
best dogs.
You're like, wow, that's putting it together. That must be amazing. They have their ups and downs with the combination of both of them.
Well, they must be huge, right?
It's weird. My one dog, they're sisters. So I have two of them. Sugar, she weighs in a bit over 100 pounds.
Oh, geez.
And has been told to let's top out it there by the vet. But she looks one way. She looks very much like a retriever. And then the sister, Cinnamon, she's only like 45 pounds. And she looks like a coyote.
Wow.
Like it's really but she has more like Pyrenees. So she's fluffier and the other's not. So they look different.
And then, the number one is Labradors.
Of course.
Yes, of course. So there's your top list. If you look down the whole list, they've got the top 30 here. And almost all of them, there's a few that I'm not familiar with, but almost all of them are the bigger dogs. Like there's not a lot of French bulldogs, Boston Terriers, Chihuahuas. They're just not on this list of the top favorites.
Fluffy big dogs. My other dog is a soft-coated Wheaten Terrier, and that didn't make the list.
That didn't. That's very specific, though. I don't know. I don't even know what that is.
What does your dog have?
It's not exactly known.
Okay, so it's an unknown.
It's an unknown.
You haven't done the doggy DNA test?
Well, when you buy your dog off of Craigslist for $50,
and the test costs more.
You don't necessarily. You just are happy to have a dog.
I know.
But she, I believe, is a mix of a Rottweiler and some kind of sheepdog or a collie or whatever. So she's got a big fuzzy tail that wags all over the place that I'm afraid is going to break off one day. And she's about 50 pounds and she's a lot of fun.
You know, I think we could all agree. If you're a dog owner, it doesn't matter what type your dog is. You just love them so much. They're
it's
the
number
best.
one on your list, but not the. If you have a small dog, the rest of the country does not agree.
Or if they're not dog owners and they still took this test, they don't think they look good enough to be the most like dogs.
That's right. Your dog is not pretty enough.
That's
Sorry.
all right. We're not offended at all.
This is The Riot.
Radio U.
There was also more for the favorite most liked dogs. We didn't even notice what was at the bottom of the story.
Yeah, we buried the lead here because we talked about the top dogs, the most loved according to a YouGov survey.
Basically, Labrador retrievers and golden retrievers.
Yep, they're popular. The bigger dogs are at the top of the list, and as far as size. Then at the bottom of the list, though, we have the least liked dogs in America.
Why do they have to call them out? Why can't they just let the list fade away?
Yeah, well, because I don't know. Why do we have to make these dogs feel bad? It's hard to look at some of these and say that they deserve it.
Well, it was 193 dogs,
Yep.
and they did a head-to-head matchup. So they were asked to like this dog or that dog,
right.
This dog or that dog. And then, of course, there has to be the bottom of the list.
Yeah, there has to be the dogs that just did not win any of the matchups.
Some of these you recognize it when you see it, but you didn't know its name or its breed.
So this is the bottom six. There's the Commodore and then the Poolie, which are both the kind of dogs that would have like they look like mops, like they're
the twisted hair.
Yeah, they're all dreadlocky, and then
how do you take care of that dog?
It's a lot of work.
I don't think I could do that.
You get somebody else to do it for you. You hire a groomer.
Well, even that seems like a lot more work.
Their full-time job is just brushing the dog's hair.
And then, you can't because it's supposed to stay twisted. Like you have to work on it. And then a Pekingese was after.
Which I found a Pekingese that had escaped from somebody's house. Man, it deserves to be at the bottom of the list.
I felt nice.
No, the dog was very calm once we had caught it and everything, but man, it was gross. And it's still a dog. It's still a dog, so I still had to rescue it, and I took care of it as best as I could, but until we found its owner. But man, it was gross. You were glad
to give it back?
Yeah, I was not. It wasn't hard to give it up. Let's just say that.
Well, this is a hard list to hear for the liked and least liked because this is solely based on looks.
Right.
Unless you know enough about the dog to judge it another way.
Because nobody has experienced all 193 dog breeds, and nobody has owned or petted a lot of these, so it's hard. But you're just going off the picture and what you might know about it. But then the bottom three Azawoks, then a Borzoi, and then a Chinese crested.
The Chinese crested one, if you remember like the world's ugliest dog competition, there was that really rough-looking dog.
Yeah.
I think that's that dog.
Yeah.
But I think that dog had some other unique...
Yep. Some specific issues to that dog.
Perhaps.
Yep, but this...
Because this one's not the worst, but it looks like it's completely... It has no hair except for...
Oh, like a mullet. Like an 80s style hairdo.
I'm looking at the dog's hair. I was like, wow, it looks like you have human like style hair on the
it's
head,
wearing
but
a
nothing
wig.
on the body.
And then the other two, I don't understand why the other two are near the bottom because they're not... It's not like they're really furry or anything. They just kind of have the more...
Well, did you call it an
Azawoks?
That just looks nervous. So I think that's probably why.
And then the Borzoi has more of a like dopey looking face, you know? Just
Listen,
like,
we're judging now.
Yeah.
We just should have said the breed. That's it.
That's I don't know. I'm just trying to paint a picture of maybe why it's near the bottom of the list, but I think it's that the list is wrong for the bottom choice. Those two bottom choices, because they look fine to me.
If your dog didn't even make it on the list, not even at the bottom, just give your dog a hug and say you didn't want to be on it anyway.
Right. You're still number one in my heart, and that's good enough.
That's enough of that. For more Riot content, head to riot.radiou.com.